Good morning. This is Jeff Weinberg, president of Caregiver Champion, and I am here this morning in a continuation of the series of what we've been doing is highlighting professionals and various services in the field so that people get to know other resources that are in the community. And today I have the greatest honor to interview someone who I've known quite some time. In fact, probably all my life.
Definitely all my life.
That's right, all her life anyhow. Jessica Neiss, she used to be called Jessica Weinberg Neiss. Jessica has been a physical therapist, and she has started a new venture in becoming both a concierge therapist as well as leading to what I would call a wellness therapy program, a total wellness program. One of the greatest thrills and honors for parents is to see their children grow up and be successful. And I have to say, from the bottom of my heart, that Jessica has always been someone who's made us proud. And to see her accomplish what she's been doing and what she is in terms of as a physical therapist and what she wants to create, which is very innovative, truly makes me and my wife Dee very, very proud of her. And we're glad to welcome her to Caregiver Champion, and we'll toss it back to Rachel and we can go from there.
Awesome. That was my favorite intro. That was lovely. Hi, Jessica. It's really nice to meet you. I'm really happy to have you here today. So why did you decide you wanted
I'm so excited to be here.
Why did you decide you wanted to become a physical therapist?
Well, I was a competitive gymnast growing up, and along with gymnastics, I also developed a lot of injuries. I hurt my ankle several times. I blew out my back, which was ultimately my career-ending injury, and I was in a lot of physical therapy as a kid. And it was just a profession that I felt like was exactly the things that I enjoyed doing, getting to spend time with your clients, getting to help people, getting really to know people. And also gives you the autonomy that, you know, makes it easy to be a mom and also have a practice on the side.
Absolutely. I didn't know you were a gymnast. That's very cool.
Yeah.
What kind of training or schooling have you had?
So I have a 4-year bachelor's degree from Penn State. My major in undergrad was kinesiology, or exercise and sports science. And so I was sort of working towards all the prerequisites for physical therapy school as an undergrad. And then I did my physical therapy degree at Pitt. And I have a master's in physical therapy from Pitt. And that program is a really intensive classroom environment, and then also years of rotation services, following different clinicians in different types of settings and learning how to treat hands-on by shadowing other seasoned clinicians.
Amazing.
And for the Penn State alumni out there, Jessica was in the Blue Band. And went to all the bowl games, and that's when Penn State had a good team, and they did very well. So it was a lot of fun as well.
Nice. So as people age, what kind of exercises should they do, and how frequently should they be exercising?
Well, the thing about aging is that, unfortunately, as we age, we sort of automatically lose certain things. And one of those things is muscle mass, or the quality of your muscle. So as everybody ages, the muscle sort of gets less and less over time. And so one of the most important things that we need to do to kind of combat that is strengthening and weight training. And I think that a lot of the problems that people see in their 60s and 70s as they start to get a little bit older is that that's when the muscle starts to break down, and that's when problems start to develop with painful kind of side effects. And in order to sort of prevent that from happening, I think it's really important that you get paired up with somebody who's really knowledgeable about weightlifting and using the major muscle groups in the body. The other thing that I recommend is cardio. Definitely the American College of Sports Medicine guidelines is at least 20 minutes of intensive or moderate intensive activity every day. So that's like if you're walking and you're trying to have a conversation with somebody, it's a little bit difficult to kind of keep talking as you're exercising. That's sort of how you gauge how strong you're supposed to be exercising. And then sort of lastly, I recommend that everybody works on their balance. So also over time, the system in your body called your vestibular system, which is what tells your brain where your body is in space, kind of changes over time as well. You know, when you're a kid, it's really easy to ride roller coasters, and then sometimes you find as an adult it's really difficult and it makes you sick. And that's sort of that system changing and evolving over time. And it's important that we continue to challenge that system so that it remains astute and on target, so that we can respond to different changes in our environment quickly without losing our balance or falling.
Absolutely.
To follow up with that, Jessica, a lot of the people that I've worked with, both in Caregiver Champion as well as in nursing and hospitals, have had multiple falls. And so the balance and strengthening, I assume, is pretty important. But is there also, I mean, people sometimes think they fall because their bones are weak and osteoporotic. Is that an issue, or is it more the others?
Well, osteoporosis is one of those unfortunate diseases that can be genetic. And so, you know, it really matters how you behaved as a child on how much your bones break down as an adult. And osteoporosis certainly is something to be concerned about, but I kind of feel like there's a lot of fear mongering in the medical profession, unfortunately. And a lot of doctors, when people have osteoporosis, they sort of say like, oh, be really careful that you're not going to fall, be aware of these environments because you could break easily. And for me as a physical therapist, I feel like that's the opposite of what we should be telling people. We should be saying like, okay, something that's weak needs to get stronger, and you can continue to deposit bone throughout your entire lifespan, whether people tell you that or not. So you just have the most bone deposits, you know, up until your 20s, and then you can continue to build bone over time if you do things like weight-bearing activities, jumping, strength training, and loading the bones. That can continue to help you even if you have osteoporosis. So I want people to be very aware of that. We sort of, I'm proposing that we make a shift in the way that we think about aging, and that all these things that happen to us like practically and happen to everybody over time really shouldn't trigger fear, and that fear of aging and fear of falling actually contributes even more to falling. And so we want people to be confident and strong, and you know, not be afraid to get down on the floor and get back up again, and not be afraid to do all of those uneven surfaces, and attack life with, you know, with gusto, and still enjoy living without feeling like you're walking on a tightrope 100% of the time.
Well, that's a very good point, because a number of people who, as they age, they do become more fearful, and they lose confidence in their abilities to do things, and they become, not to say that you shouldn't be cautious, because you have to be cautious and safe, but it shouldn't prevent you from doing things that you should want to do. And the whole aging concept, which is extremely important in today's world, because people are living longer, is something that you have to continue to stress, your quality of life. And being fearful, it can inhibit your quality of life, and that's something that you want to try to prevent. The other piece to that, I think, is also that in being fearful, you don't get to achieve the things that you might want to achieve in life because you're inhibiting yourself. And I really like the idea that people should be confident in their bodies and be able to do things. I mean, I know many people who are my peers who never have gotten on the floor and played with their grandchildren. And I think that's pretty sad.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate. And you know, the truth is that I think we also need to kind of think about the fear in relation to falling. Like, people have this idea that just because you're an adult, you should never ever fall. And if you look at kids, they're so active all the time and they're falling all the time. They skin their knees. You know, I carry Band-Aids with me in my wallet just because, you know, if somebody falls and hurts themselves, then a Band-Aid makes it all better. But, you know, that doesn't change as we age. Like, we live in an environment where gravity is a part of things, and that's playing down on you. Surfaces are uneven. If you're active, you're going to lose your balance, and that's only natural for every human being. And for some reason, as we age, people become more fearful of that fall. But if we're prepared for the fact that we are going to fall and how we handle ourselves when we fall so that we don't get hurt, you know, the fall doesn't really matter, right? It doesn't really matter that you fall. What matters is whether or not you hurt yourself. So if we teach people how to fall and how to prepare themselves once they fall, how to get back up off of the ground, or how to, you know, what to do to call for help, or any of those things, I think that it's another shift in mindset. Instead of fall prevention, it should be fall preparedness so that we don't prevent falls, because nobody can prevent falling. It's just one of those things that happens. I mean, I fall, you know, I run, I fall, I haven't ever broken anything, thankfully, because I know how to fall.
Right.
Well, that's an important thing, is to learn how to fall. But when I was running nursing facilities, they would say, you know, we would evaluate people's fall risks. And just like you said, everybody is at risk for falling. And the idea is that the degree of how many times you've fallen, and medications and some other things that contribute to falling make you a higher fall risk. But everybody's at risk for falling, no matter what their age is. And like you said, you have to be able to know what to do and how to try to maximize your independence so that and minimize that risk of falling.
Yeah, I think that's a really important conversation. I understand you're providing concierge therapy. What is that?
So concierge therapy is one of those kind of general base terms for somebody who goes into people's homes. So I have a mobile outpatient practice. I have myself, and then I have another physical therapist, and we go into people's homes, and we basically bring the outpatient facility to you so that you don't have to, it's convenient so that you don't have to leave your home. For people that don't have transportation, or for whatever reason feel more comfortable in their home because of COVID and aren't ready to be in gym environments yet. So we come to you. I have a little cart that I pull behind me, and I bring all of my exercise equipment with me, and we address your goals and talk to you about the things that you're having difficulty with, or the things that you would like to do better or change. And then we work together to come up with a program for everybody individually. Very cool.
Very cool. And I hear that you're developing a wellness center, which is awesome. What is the difference between, you kind of touched on it, OP therapy, a gym, and then your wellness program?
So yeah, I am going to be developing a wellness center. I'm really excited about it. It's been something that I've been wanting to do for about 15 years. So it's a long time coming. And I hope to have it be a wellness center geared towards older adults and people with chronic disabilities, such as Parkinson's, multiple sclerosis, stroke, spinal cord injury, My background is in neuro, and I spent a lot of time rehabbing people that had all of these issues. And then once I discharged them from physical therapy at that time, I didn't have anywhere to send them, but they were still going to be experiencing this chronic disability for the rest of their lives, you know, and I didn't feel comfortable sending them into a gym environment where people weren't trained to work with them. So, so just to answer your question, an outpatient physical therapy is a place where people come when they have a specific problem, whether it's a painful joint or lack of being able to move a certain way, or a specific thing in their life that they can't do that they used to be able to do that they want to do again. And so it's very goal driven, and it's a finite period of time. So you have a goal, you know, hey, my ankle hurts me every time I run, I want it not to hurt. The therapist helps to work on that by using manual techniques and exercise combined, and with you doing your homework, of course. And then you sort of reach a goal, and you say, yay, we reached the goal, and then we're done. And then they're discharged from physical therapy. A gym is kind of the exact opposite of that. So it's just basically a building with a lot of exercise equipment that people can go and work on their cardio and work on their strengthening, but that's totally independent. So they could hire a personal trainer, but other than that, and there are exercise classes that are offered, like group classes, but none of it is really catered individually. And then lastly, sort of the wellness center, which is what I envision, is geared towards the populations that don't really have access to a regular gym environment or don't feel comfortable walking into a gym and doing their own program. So older adults and people with chronic disabilities, I want to have exercise equipment that's all sort of ADA accessible, handicapped accessible, so people in wheelchairs can use it, and then also be driven and overseen by physical therapists. So everybody who would come into the gym would be evaluated by a PT, and goals would be discussed together, even if it's just like a strengthening goal, or you know, you want to maintain what you have, but we would continue to sort of monitor each person as they work out and make sure that their form is safe and that they're doing things properly and correctly. And then also to be able to offer exercise classes for each of those sub sort of disciplines. So people with Parkinson's, there's lots of really amazing exercise programs out there geared towards that. So we'd like to be able to offer those. My associate is really well schooled in teaching Tai Chi for various populations, and Tai Chi is really wonderful for balance, especially with aging. So we hope to be able to offer various Tai Chi classes. And I also ultimately would like to have other clinicians there as well. So different types of therapy, psychotherapy, nutrition, sort of a one-stop shop for people with disabilities. Because I know how hard it is as you age, and also if you have a chronic disability, to keep going to all these different healthcare providers. So we hope to have them all in one place and be able to work as a team approach in order to help the person and decide as a team what would best be suited for that person.
That is incredibly exciting and very innovative. I love your concepts. They're really important. Very cool.
Caregiver Champion, we have dealt with everything that Jessica just mentioned, and healthcare in general is very isolated in terms of what they do and where they do it. And it's fragmented because, again, you get a script to go to a therapy gym, and then once you're done with therapy, there's nowhere else to go. And another thing that I have always tried to emphasize with people is that there's what I call a cookie cutter approach to care. And a cookie cutter approach to care is that basically everybody gets the same thing. So if you have a script for physical therapy and you have a bad back, which is what my wife and Jessica's mother has had in the past, no matter where she goes, for the most part, she gets the same treatment. And it's like you look it up in your cookbook and you go, oh, back. And then this is the treatment for back. And that's what she gets. And it wasn't until Jessica, in fact, made her aware of some other professionals who were doing things that were much more targeted to what she needed. That became how she got better. And I've always admired the fact that Jessica, as a therapist, has been not a cookie cutter therapist. She has developed, and this is the way I have been. I don't know that I taught her anything, but my whole approach to care has been what I call a person-centered approach to care. You have to apply it to that person. And, Rachel and Jessica and myself are three different people. We may all have back pain, but each of us would need a different kind of treatment for that back pain. And and I've taught administration, and I tell people that there's the art and there's the science of anything that you do. And the science of what you do is what you learn. So everybody learns like physiology, or everybody learns what meds go with certain things. But the art of that is then how you apply that to that individual, because it's the individual care that's what's needed. And like Rachel said, there isn't anywhere to really seek that out right now. A personal trainer can do that to a certain extent based on what their knowledge is, but it's not really looking at that total person and everything they need.
And especially for people with disabilities. In fact, I don't know of any gym that is geared for them. That's really brilliant and important. Yeah, there's a lot of
yeah. I mean, most people with spinal cord injury. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but most people with spinal cord injury, the predominant group that gets injured are men between the ages of 18 and 25. Then they're doing risky behaviors. They're tall men that have long necks, and then that's where they break them, because they're either drinking and driving. I'm just grossly generalizing, but that's the majority of the spinal cord injured population. And so you have somebody that just rehabbed and they're 25 years old and they were an active male, involved in all sorts of things. And now for the rest of their lives, they're going to need to remain active so that they don't, have skin breakdown or have any problems with their shoulders, or, all these things that sort of change, but they enjoy being active, and there needs to be an outlet for people to be able to do that.
100%. I think I saw somewhere 80% of Americans have back pain, like pretty severe back pain, which is a lot. It's a lot.
It's a lot. Yeah.
I'm wondering.
It is a lot.
With COVID and more people working from home and being at their computers even more so than we already are there any kind of, I know this is probably a long conversation, but just quick tips that you might have for people to stay active and protect their bodies, protect their backs from being sitting all day and at home?
Sure. So one would be to set up your workstation to have it win for you. So instead of, the computer screen really should be at eye level so that you're not kind of glancing down at it. Also, if you're holding your phone, you're not glancing down at your phone all day. You get a little holder to hold your phone up, because it does put a lot of strain on the joints in your neck and a lot of muscle imbalances. Your muscles get tight in the front of your neck. The other thing would be to have your chair have a nice lumbar support. So at the bottom of your spine, to have a little bit of support down there, to have a little bit of an arch in your back as you're sitting. And your knees should really be, your feet should be flat on the floor, and your knees should be at like a 90-degree angle, and your hips should be at a 90-degree angle. So if your knees are coming up higher than your hips, you want to raise your chair up higher. Or if your knees are too low and your feet are barely touching the floor, then maybe give yourself a little stool under your feet so that you have that proper support, because that's where your force is distributed as you're sitting for such a long period of time. And then I would suggest like giving yourself kind of exercise snack breaks. So every 20 minutes or 30 minutes, get up and walk around or stretch or open up your chest, reach back behind you, do a little bit of twisting and moving, just so that your body is not kind of in a static position for the entirety of 8 hours, that you kind of change it up over time, because muscles get tight and sore and fatigue in the muscles, and your postural muscles will fatigue over time. And then, if you're sitting all day and then you want to go out and you want to carry something later on, you may feel tired to be able to do the things in your life that you need to do, because they've been working all day to sort of hold you in this one static position all day long.
Yeah, it's
How
great.
much is stretching? I mean, we're doing that. How much of stretching is important?
So the research is still kind of out on the whole stretching thing, but anecdotally, I love stretching. I mean, I get up every morning, and I'm one of the people that has a bad back. I'm one of the 80% of people. And so every morning I get up and I stretch. I stretch my low back, I stretch my shoulders, I stretch my neck. And for me, that feels really good and relieves some of that muscle tension. The research is kind of out on whether there's any permanent kind of changes from stretching, but I think that stretching sort of alleviates the muscle, allows the muscle to relax instead of holding yourself in a certain position the whole day. So I think stretching's great.
We are running out of time. I just want to stress the importance of physical therapy. I know so many people that it has truly changed their life, gotten to the root of their problem, not just a Band-Aid or a pill, or it's really trained professionals getting to the root of a problem and helping you correct it for long term. So I really admire and respect the work you do. I'm excited about your wellness center. Where can people get in touch with you, find you, use your services?
My business is called To Life Therapy and Fitness, and you can email me at jessica@tolifefitness.com. or go on my website at www.tolifefitness.com.
Great. We'll post
and I
that.
also just started accepting, I was just going to say, I just started accepting Medicare insurance. So hopefully
Awesome.
That's helpful for people.
Wonderful. We will put the comments below so people can find you. It was really nice to meet you. You are definitely a wine bird. No cookie cutter approach. Brilliant. And I appreciate you taking the time to talk
Weinberg in a good way or Weinberg in a bad way?
In a great way. In a great way. It's who you want to go to.
And as you can see, this is why I'm very proud of her, because she's a unique person, and she really has developed and is developing a wonderful program that will benefit not only us, because she does come over to our house every Wednesday and help us, but the general community as well. And I think it's something that everybody needs to know about.
Agreed. Thank you,
Thank you.
Jessica.
Well, thanks so much for having me and for interviewing me. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Take care. Thanks, everybody, for watching.
Bye.